Alright, well, we've got a 1969 T100 top end, and I just want to show kind of a typical top end build that I do. This guy supplied all of his own parts. He already disassembled his head, so I'm going to have to measure the bore and make sure, because he supplied me with standard sized kibble white guides, and so hopefully these will be tight enough that I can run the standards. The other thing I have to do is these head bolt holes are cracked. Usually you see this a lot on pre-units, but this guy has it on his unit 500. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, maybe, but what I do, so I've welded them. I've done a bunch of different stuff. I don't know. The seats are cast in. They're trapezoidal. There's no way the seat could fall out, because of this crack or anything. The biggest issue with it is just leaking. The easiest fix, the most, financially responsible way to do it is I use this hydraulic hose. It's a half-inch outer diameter, and the inside diameter matches the bolts almost perfectly, and so it works out really good. I just bore this out, drill it and ream it, and then there's about 2 thousandths interference fit on the outside diameter of this steel line once I'm finished with it. But it works really good. I've done it quite a bit. I'm really happy with how it works, both just for time and effectiveness. So I'm gonna do that to this for him, but otherwise it's just kind of a typical overhaul. So I will blast it. He wants the head vapor blasted, and then I will blast and repaint the cylinders once I'm done with the bore, but I've got to take it to 20 over. I will kind of show you each step as I go. Alright, this is the dry blast. I will now make sure the gasket surface is nice and flat, and then bore the cylinder, and then I'll probably go to the head. This will go a lot quicker, and when I hone, I like to let it cool down as I work my way through it. I learned that the hard way. I didn't really realize how much friction you can build up. Years ago when I was first starting out, I would hone all in one shot, and that was a bad idea. Anyway, so I'll get the cylinders going, then I will switch over and start working on the head. I'll do the crack repair first, then once that's done, I will vapor blast it, then install the guides, cut the seats, so on. So I'll get this cylinder set up, and then we'll go from there. So the customer already had measured this before they sent it to me, so they knew it was worn, but I measured it up, and it's got about 3 thousandths at the top over standard. It's just outside of spec at the bottom, but that extra 3 thousandths is, it's ready for an oversize. So I'm going to take it to 20 over. These pistons are 2.731, and so I've got a decent amount of meat to chunk out of there. So I don't know if you can tell if the lighting is there, you can kind of see it. Anyway, got the sleeves or liners or whatever you want to call them, but got those pressed in. Obviously this is very similar to like what Triumph did later on with their intake side head bolt holes, but like I said, it takes care of that crack issue as far as preventing any leaks. But yeah, so I'm now going to blast it again. I still have a little bit of carbon left on the exhaust ports, and then I will be drawing in the new guides and vapor blasting it. You can see there's still some carbon there too, but then I'll vapor blast it and cut the seats. Well, hone the inside diameter of the guides and then cut the seats. But on to the next. Oh, I also got done with these cylinders. I'm very happy with how they turned out. I've got about 3 thousandths left that I'm gonna hone out, and I'll show you that too. Obviously there's not much to see, but I just am so happy with the finish from this Quickway. That Winona bar, you know, I've been using it for years, and I'm so glad I have this one now. But the one thing, I talked to Dan at Friends and Grub, and he was telling me I should definitely run the cylinders upside down. They bore much nicer that way, so I will be switching up my style. I'm happy with how this went. They're straight, and you know, they bored very nicely, but for many reasons we talked about, I will be running them the other way. Guides are going in nicely. They're good interference on them. Like I said, these are standard. A lot of time I don't like when people buy their own parts, because when I go to knock out old guides, they're either already oversized or they're loose or whatever it is, but luckily these are going really well. This is the drawbar I use. If you look, it's got like kind of a centering cone that sits in the seat, and then just a kind of pilot that rides over top of the guide and draws it in nicely. I've done a lot of different ways of installing guides, and I like this one the most because it really helps a lot with the amount of material that has to be cut away on the seat itself. So this is very handy. I like using it. I broke it multiple times, so this is just all thread. And you know, it gets a decent amount of use, and then they break. It's, you know, cheap. You're stretching it quite a bit doing this, but like I said, it's worth it because it really cuts down on the amount of material you lose when you're cutting the seats to match. But I'm gonna get this one finished, and then I'm going to hone the internal diameter. Got the guides honed, so let that drip for a little bit, and then I will clean it off, and then it'll be ready for some seat action. I am going to start honing the cylinders in the meantime. I got the first seat cut here, so I wanted to show you kind of an untouched seat. Also, I don't know if you can see that, but check out that awesome casting right there. There's some ugly stuff. Not pretty, but anyway, that's a untouched seat. I don't think this thing's ever had a valve job before. You can kind of tell because of the single 45. And then this is the one I just got done with. You can maybe kind of tell how much I've dropped it. It's not much at all. It usually looks a little exaggerated because when I deshroud around where I'm cutting, it will kind of give the illusion of it being deep, but I don't know if that really translates in the video. But if you look here, maybe you can see how wide the face is. I've got black Sharpie on there. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but good contact. Alright, there she is, all done up. I didn't really get the last couple steps like painting and stuff, but you get the idea. The head turned out nicely. I think we got a pretty good overall view of that earlier, but cleaned up. Gasket surfaces are nice and flat. Everything looks pretty nice. And then the cylinders, head gasket surface checked out. all the threads are good and clean. Just a duplicolor black, the engine enamel, and then I bake it so that way it's kind of already cured for them. But I don't know if you can see the hone, but all done up, so ready to go back. I think here pretty soon I might do like a top end installation, so that way you kind of get an idea if you sent me one, you know, what it would entail to put it back together. But let me know if that's something you guys want to see. I really don't like doing full engine assembly, so the more I can delegate back to the owner, the better. But